Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite girl, Susan. How are you doing today? Happy Sunday. Are you feeling okay? Did you miss me? As you can see, I have a guest today. Please, sir, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, guys. My name is Reuben Chaku, and I'm a legal practitioner. I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
Yes.
What are you going to say about yourself? Do you have any other thing you want to tell us?
I'm I'm a lawyer, but I'm not the regular lawyer. I'm not your regular lawyer.
So, what kind of lawyer are you?
I'm a lawyer with a difference. I'm not the lawyer who lies.
Lawyers are liars. There's no true about that.
So I don't lie.
Okay.
I just am professional. I do what a professional lawyer does. So that's me.
Okay.
Professional lawyers do
Yes, I know.
a lot of good, actually.
A lot of good.
Yeah.
And some lies.
Well, not really. Lawyers don't lie. Lawyers only do their job.
So tell me, why did you choose to be a lawyer?
I've always liked the legal profession. For me, the legal profession is a noble profession, and I've been a noble person. So of course, I naturally gravitated to, a noble profession. So for me, of course, I won't come out and tell you, I became a lawyer to fight for, the poor, but I'm a noble person, so I joined the noble profession.
Okay.
Yes.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Landlord-tenant relationship.
Okay, guys. Today we're talking about frequently asked questions about the whole landlord and tenant relationship thinking. So let's get right into it. First off, I want to ask, what kind of relationship exists between a landlord and the tenant?
Okay, the kind of relationship that exists between a landlord and a tenant is basically a contractual relationship. Okay. However, the contractual relationship is heavily guided by law, and the law also envisages the absence of, an express contract between a landlord and a tenant. So the law provides let's say the barest minimum. Okay. That's if in the absence of, if the landlord and the tenant for whatever reason fail to let's say sign an express contract, the law provides the both of them with a contract. I don't know that you get my point. Yeah, so first of all, landlord tenant to have an express contract that both of them will agree on terms. If it has to be in writing, or it must not necessarily be in writing, but there needs to be an understanding between the landlord and the tenant. So if they don't have that express understanding, then the law will now come in and say, okay, you people should use this understanding. Okay. Yes, so I think basically that's the kind of relationship that exists between a landlord and a tenant. It's contractual. Subject to, it's contractual. Then in the absence of the express contract, you now bring in the provisions of the law to guide the relationship.
What law regulates this landlord and tenant relationship here in Abuja?
Okay, in Abuja, the law that regulates landlord-tenant relationship is the Recovery of Premises Act.
Okay.
But in other states, all states have their own recovery of premises law. But in Abuja, it's Recovery of Premises Act. So that particular law for Abuja regulates the relationship.
I would like to ask, can a landlord or tenant change the lease agreement?
Okay. you said lease. Okay, there's a difference between a lease and a tenancy. A lease is basically a tenancy that is for not less than 3 years. Yes, so if you're renting a property for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, it's called a lease. It's it's kind of different from a little bit different from a tenancy. A tenancy is for a week. You're renting a property for a week to maybe 2 years or thereabout. Yes, so since we're talking about tenancy, the landlord or the tenants cannot individually change or alter the tenancy agreement, because as long as the tenancy exists, both parties must abide by the agreement until the end of the tenancy. So after the tenancy, before both parties will come together and agree or either negotiate, both parties have to agree on the tenancy.
So it's after like
the existing tenancy before both parties. Although in between they can discuss.
Okay.
You understand?
So
however,
one person cannot
change the tenancy agreement in the course of that tenancy.
So one person cannot just change. So your landlord cannot just come and meet you and tell you he has changed the agreement. You hear that? Okay. Can a landlord increase the rent without due notice?
This will flow from the previous question that you asked about, changing of the agreement and everything. A landlord cannot increase your rent in the course of the tenancy. So if you are a tenant, if you are a 1-year tenant, the 1 year must lapse before the landlord can increase the rent. So if you stay for a year, the landlord, after that first year, the landlord can come back and say he wants to increase the rent for the following year. But the landlord cannot increase the rent of that particular year. However, if the tenancy is for, let's say, 2 years, and you have an agreement that you are staying in the property for 2 years and you have paid him for the first year, the landlord cannot come and say the second year he's going to increase the rent, because the tenancy is for 2 years. But what is most popular is people enter into a yearly tenancy. So after that first year, the landlord can increase the rent. But if the tenancy is for 2 years or it's for more than 1 year, after 1 year lapses, though you paid for the first year, you've not paid for the second year, but the agreement is for 2 years, the landlord cannot come and increase the rent for the following year. The agreement, both parties must abide by the agreement. Yes.
That's really educated. Can a landlord or a tenant refuse entry into the property?
Okay, let me start with the landlord, because I think most times that's what brings conflict the most. First of all, earlier I talked about the relationship being contractual. So if both parties agreed that the landlord can enter into the property at a particular time, which is always the case. Most times, parties agree that the landlord can enter, on particular times. Then the landlord can enter into the property only, at the specified times that parties have agreed that the landlord can enter into the premises. If you rent a place, the landlord cannot just come and enter into the property. However, if both parties agreed initially that the landlord can come into the property once in 6 months, once in a year to inspect the property, after giving the tenant notice, you understand, the notice could be 24 hours notice, the notice could be 1 week notice, depending on the earlier agreement. So, however, the landlord needs to give the tenant notice that he wants to come and inspect his property on so day and on a reasonable, at a reasonable time. The landlord cannot come around 12 a.m. and say he wants to inspect his property. You understand? So that is only when a landlord can enter into the property. when the tenancy is still subsisting. You understand? So, and also the the landlord cannot also stop the tenant from entering into the property as long as the tenant is still in possession of the property, because there's what we call possessory rights in law. So a tenant has possessory rights, and whoever has possessory rights at any point in time can stop anybody from entering the property, including the owner. So the landlord has is the owner of the property, but the tenant has possessory rights. You understand? So though the landlord is the owner, the tenant is in possession, and he can stop anybody, including the landlord, from entering the property, and nobody else, including the landlord, can stop the tenant from entering the property, because the tenant is in possession of the property at that point in time. The only time the landlord can stop a tenant from entering a property is when, after the owner has gone to court and gotten the necessary orders of court, before the owner can come back to the property, eject the tenant and stop the tenant from entering the property. But before that, the owner cannot stop the tenant from entering or exiting the property.
Okay. Can a landlord stop, like, maybe, let's say, friends of the tenants now? Maybe the friends came to visit, but the landlord is saying that he don't want other persons in the premises. Can the landlord do that?
Okay, ordinarily, the landlord cannot do that, because the tenant is in possession. So he has all rights to enter into the premises and exit, and also his friends and possibly relations. However, if the tenant is carrying out criminal activities, let's say there was a robbery incident, or and he's bringing the robbers into the premises, most likely the owner can't stop such from happening. You understand? Because the tenant cannot carry out criminal activities on the property, just basically because he is in possession of the property. So his rights of occupying the premises does not extend to carrying out criminal activities on the property.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have someone to sue, and you'll be my lawyer.
Do you have money?
See finish, guys. This is the highest level of see finish. Do I have money? I can buy you.
What can you buy? Well, let's know.
Do you know what I am? Do you know who I am?
Are you sure you want to have this discussion online? Are you sure you want to have this discussion?
Do you know who I am? Do you know me?
Do you have money?
Wow. I have money.
Naira or dollars?
I have money.
Naira or dollars?
I have money.
Naira or dollars? Somebody who has kobo will also say he or she has money. So,
guys, no other person see you finish. But what I wanted to say is that back when we were in school, I have this friend, and our landlord used to give us trouble anytime we come to visit her. So that's what I'm saying. I have some. So she will see this video and she will understand what I'm saying. Because anytime we will call her and we quarrel her, why she bringing people to the house, this and that. You get.
No. Especially if, except maybe in the agreement, the both parties, the landlord and the tenant, expressly agreed that the tenant will not bring people into the house, maybe at particular times, but in the absence of such agreement, the landlord cannot stop the tenant from carrying out his regular business or his regular activities, on the property.
Okay.
Yes.
You guys hearing? They cannot stop you, so don't allow them do you anyhow.
Yeah.
My people in Abraka, you guys are saying this because it's in Abraka that this thing happened.
It happens everywhere. It happens almost everywhere.
In a scenario where the landlord collects rent and does not deliver the possession of the property to the tenants, what are the available remedies for that person?
Okay, well, that's a breach of contract. That's a breach of contract because the tenant has fulfilled his own end of the agreement. So the landlord ought to have delivered the property to the tenant. So in that case, the tenant can take the necessary legal steps to recover the money paid to the landlord, and also can ask for damages, and it's a breach of contract, and one can take all the legal steps for breach of contract.
Okay. So if you want to contact him how? You, just in case you want to sue anybody. I'll soon sue somebody, sha. I know. I don't know why, but I know.
Well,
supposed to.
Let them reach you then.
Oh, okay. Yes. You said you should reach me. Reach me and I'll collect my percentage. You know how you're saying.
Well, it's unethical for a lawyer to share his legal fees with a non-lawyer. So, unfortunately for you, I can't breach the rule of professional conduct for lawyers. I warned you. I'm a noble man, noble profession. And,
I don't have a clap back yet, but I'll come back for that later. Did you enjoy this? I know you did. Thank you very much for staying till this time. You are darling. Thank you so much. If you have not liked, enjoy, Biko, like, subscribe, comment. If you have anything to say, if you have any questions, the Lord will answer for us. Yes. So please drop them in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. See you on my next video where I'll be bringing someone else to talk about something you learn from. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.